Hello and welcome to another edition of Media Oddities. Later on in the program we're going to be showcasing some new technology because if everything goes according to plan, which we often know it doesn't, Duffman should be appearing on this TV screen live from Studio One. But we begin now with a story from CBC News. We're all now very concerned about climate change, and we all want to do our best to prevent it from happening. Probably one of the most simple things we can all do is unplug electronic devices that aren't being used. This report from CBC News on how much standby power electronic devices take.
Crystal Gamansing explains.
Energy conservation is a passion for efficiency expert Ken Clausen.
If we're all consuming, a couple of watts each for a little printer or a charger like that, it starts to really add up.
Canadians are buying more electronic gadgets today than ever before. Virtually all of these electronics consume standby power, even when they're turned off.
Well, in Canada, overall energy usage in houses is down about 12% per household since 1990, which is really good. But the gains would have been even more if we hadn't had all of these sort of small little miscellaneous energy vampires in our houses.
Here's an example of how much standby energy costs. A new energy-efficient fridge running at full power uses roughly 500 kilowatts per year. That'll cost you about $50. A digital cable box for your TV turned off can pull 600 kilowatts a year, costing you $60 even if you don't use it. Microwaves also use standby power. You may be surprised, but over the course of a year, more energy is used powering this clock than the appliance uses cooking food. This energy technologist with the federal government wants to see mandatory standby power guidelines in Canada.
We never really addressed the whole issue of energy use by, for example, computer equipment, office equipment.
Governments in Australia, Japan, and the state of California require manufacturers of small electronics to restrict standby power to 1 watt. Turned off, Jonna Keeler's TV draws 25 watts. She's charged for that per month.
Quite amazing.
Well, there's been studies that have suggested that at least 5 to 10% of all electricity that's used in houses is due to all of these little phantom loads, these standby losses.
There's limited Canadian research on standby power, but federal officials say electronic devices on standby use about 615 megawatts per year. It would take 2 of Manitoba's generating plants running full throttle to produce that much energy.
Very much amazed at this, and the little things that you think are not important really are.
While Canadians wait for small electronics to become more energy efficient, officials say the best thing to do to limit standby consumption is to just unplug devices, or if there are several in one area, use a power bar and switch that off. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And welcome back. As you can see, hopefully we are now joined live in Studio One by Duffman. Hello Duffman, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good.
So do you have any cool stories for us?
Yes, I do.
Well, what have you got for us today, Duffman?
Well, thanks to CBC News, we have a story about a dog and a new lease on life, with the help of a bionic leg.
Oh, tired boy.
There's never a dispute in the Taylor household over who has to take the dog for a walk. They're just happy they have a dog to walk.
He is part of the family, and we want to give him a chance.
Well, I think we have an agreement.
The princely creature with the precarious gait is a Belgian shepherd named Storm.
Come on.
A couple of months ago, the Taylors noticed a limp. The vet, a bump on his paw. The diagnosis was cancer. The best option, amputation, and something new.
A prosthetic paw. And we went, what are they? We've never heard of these.
Noel Fitzpatrick did what no other veterinary surgeon in the world had done before. Get skin to attach to metal.
The honeycomb meshwork.
Back in June, he implanted this device. It's coated with diamond dust on which bacteria won't grow. 4 weeks later,
That's been the Holy Grail. That's why this is different to anything else that's ever been done.
a resilient seal around a metal peg. No friction, no infection.
A piece of metal that you can leave sticking out of the skin forever.
Storm was never one for swimming before, but he's adjusting to the pool.
That's it. Excellent.
and adapting nicely to the paw. He'll have many more weeks of therapy sessions and clinic visits. This day, there's a problem with his paw.
I needed to be strong enough to take him running around.
The carbon fiber blade doesn't absorb his weight properly. Fitzpatrick is designing a new one.
We're going to put some piston coils in here.
Is it going to be much heavier?
No, well, we're making it out of ultra lightweight stuff that they put into Formula One racing cars.
Word of Fitzpatrick's feat has traveled round the world. This prosthetics expert in New Brunswick sees significant implications for two-legged patients.
We can only take little tiny steps at a time, and it sometimes helps to have animal models to be able to do that with. And if we can do that with an animal, most likely we can do that with a human.
He'll get his new paw in 10 days. For now, a new bandage.
Good boy.
And so far, a happy ending to a story that's taken the veterinary world by storm. Heather Hiscox, CBC News, Farnham, England.
Now, continuing with our climate change theme today, we have this report from CNN on a New Jersey man who's doing more than his fair share to try and go green, but his neighbors maybe not so impressed with the 35-foot wind tower he put in his backyard.
In this breezy town on the New Jersey shore, when the wind is blowing, Michael Mercurio is thinking about saving money on energy.
My bill was running for gas and electric about $340 to $370 a month, and now I have a $9.50 bill a month.
He built this 35-foot windmill in his backyard last year. Along with the solar panels on his roof, Mercurio has not only cut his energy costs, he sent power back to the local grid, especially when it's running at full speed, seen here in this home video.
The more power we can generate at our homes, the more free energy we have. It's there for this country to use. It declares energy independence for this country.
He had hopes of turning this trailblazing idea into a business, building backyard windmills for homeowners across the country.
I guess I'm a pioneer, and I got a lot of hours in my back from it.
Not long after wind power came to Long Beach Island, did a storm start brewing. It was the forces of nature versus the forces of, not in my backyard.
It's an eyesore, and I think more importantly, it's the noise that it makes.
I believe that's false because it's no more noisy than an air conditioner.
One of Mercurio's next-door neighbors sued the local township, claiming the windmill exceeds height and noise ordinances.
Our claim against the township is that they are not, or were not, enforcing their own ordinances, allowing this thing to be built.
The town ordered Mercurio to turn off his windmill until the matter is settled in court, a decision that environmentalists say blew them away.
We want to see tests like this all over the country. You know, we should be testing what our potential is for clean energy. And knowing Mike, I don't think he'll be deterred.
They see Michael Mercurio as a modern-day Don Quixote.
My answer to not my backyard is, it's in my backyard, and I want to keep it there.
Instead of tilting at windmills, he's trying to save one. Jim Acosta, CNN, Beach Haven Terrace, New Jersey.
Well, I don't know, Duffman. What do you think about having a 35-foot wind tower in your backyard? Personally, I like the idea.
Well, I think it's not a bad idea, but it would drive me crazy to have a huge-ass tower in my backyard.
And apparently it would drive his neighbors crazy as well, as we saw in that report there from CNN. And thank you for watching Media Oddities today. We'll be back next week with another technology-filled segment of MO. See you then!